Hello, today I'm going to teach you how to make a graph on Excel, but this time instead of the desktop version of Excel, Excel Online, which has its own weird little rules. We'll talk a little bit about graphing in general, kind of a quick rundown of what you need to hand in, what you have to do. If you've watched one of the other videos, some of that might be redundant, but skip to the part you need, I guess. So in general, on a graph, what's going to happen is most of these labs will require graphs. And they can be made in Excel, Google Sheets, any program. As I said, today we're just going to look at the online version of Excel. If you want to look at the desktop version of Excel or Google Sheets, check one of my other videos. And I'm going to tell you here how to get all the points possible. So all graphs need to be in a way that all the information can be figured out by reading it. Everything labeled, everything clear. And what's going to happen each time is I will ask you to graph Y versus X. And I won't just say, here's Y versus X. I'll say something like graph M versus X, which I'll do in today's example, and I'll say, okay, graph M versus X. If I do that, that means M must be Y and X must be X, which is kind of nice that X is X. Whatever I say first will always be Y. Whatever I say second will always be X. And you always want to put what the first one, the Y, that's the vertical, and the X as the horizontal. Now, the first thing you can do is collect the data. So let's say you collect this data. And what you're going to want to do is enter that data into Excel. In this case, with this video, Excel Online. And what you'll do is you'll just put that data right in. Whatever is your X value, which once again is X in this case, probably not the world's best example, you'll put that in column A. And then whatever you have on your Y, you'll put in column B. And when you do that, it'll be like this. And so there we go. We have my data in column A and column B. To make a graph on Excel Online, what you want to do is you'll select the data just by clicking and dragging, go to Insert, and in the recommended chart, find this one with the dots. That's the scatter plot. And you'll click that and you'll get a scatter plot. Now you might want to change the title. If you want to change the title, just go to chart title, edit chart title, and call it whatever you want. But what's more important is we label our axes. To label the axes, what you do is you go in this top bit to access titles. And for the record, if you ever go away from that, that disappears, just click the graph again, chart, you get back to it. But access titles, and we'll label our axes, the horizontal and the vertical. The horizontal, you'll just put whatever you graphed on the horizontal. Here we graphed mass, sorry, that's a lie. We graphed position in meters. And so I'll just put that on my horizontal. On Y, I'll go ahead and vertical and put whatever I put on Y. Now you can use any of these, rotated, vertical, horizontal, title. It doesn't matter which. I'm going to use rotated today just because, but I'll put whatever's on Y. There you go. There was the axis labeled. The thing is, from this graph, we also need to make sure we get our trend line. To get the trend line, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the data. Actually, we don't need to click on the data, just have the graph. And when we double click on the graph, this bit shows up to the right with this chart. And you're going to go down to where it says series 1. When that opens up, you'll go down to it says trend line and kind of flip this little knob to make trend line show up, which makes a whole bunch more things show up. But the important one is display equation on chart. When you click display equation on chart, there you go. You get an equation. In this case, Y equals 0.9823 X plus 0.0009. That is the appropriate graph. Sorry, and that did something weird. Try that again. And so there we go. There's our graph. Now what we have is a slope of line, Y equals mx plus b, or in this case, Y equals 0.9823x plus 0.0009. We always ignore the y-intercept. So really we're just gonna say y is slope times x. So in this case, we graphed m as y and x as x. So in this case, m is slope times x. And what that means is that we know the slope is 0.9823. Now that's always what I want to ask for. And when you put the slope, always include the units. So the units of a slope is the units on y divided by the units on x. So the actual slope would be 0.9823 kilograms per meter. Now, I always give an equation to relate to something in physics, and this one would be m equals k over g times x. That would be something I give you. But if you compare this and what we found, we can see that the slope of the graph must be k over g. Now, you wouldn't actually use that equation. You'd make this graph to get your slope. But rearranging it, you could solve for something. Like if you wanted to solve for k, k will be the slope times g. And you can solve as follows. Now, if you're in physical science, you're good with what's there and you can stop watching. But if you're in my physics class, you also need the uncertainty in slope, which this did not make right away. If you need uncertainty in slope, we're going to use something called the linest function. How this works is you click an empty cell and you type equasine, L-I-N-E-S-T, and then open parentheses. And it kind of gives you a hint what you need: known y's, known x's, constant stats. What you do is you click and drag over your y values, press comma. Then click and drag over your x values, press comma, then press it again. You need 2 commas here. Type the word true, close parenthesis, and press enter. This is going to make a whole bunch of numbers come out. Really, though, a whole bunch of numbers that we need very few of. What it is whatever number is in the upper left, that is the slope of your graph. And that should be the same as what's on the graph. The number beneath that, that's the uncertainty in slope. And that's what we're looking for here. That's how you'll get that value. Now, the other numbers here, you don't need. All of these other numbers are just unnecessary and you won't use. It's only those 2 where you need the slope and the uncertainty in slope. However, once you have those, that'll give you those values. That the slope was 0.982 plus or minus 0.0059, being that 0.00597. I really should have rounded that, is what I had gotten. So I don't know why that is going black when I full screen. Get the video at full quality here. That really gives a range of the slope, although you'll never actually use that range of the slope. What you'll do is you'll use an equation to solve for the uncertainty, whatever you're looking for, such as the uncertainty in k is the uncertainty in slope times g. Hopefully this helped. And if you have any questions, feel free to come talk to me.